system that works. This is a system that we have been using. Hi, Carol here from That Irish Schoolhouse. Welcome to my channel. It's a bit of a weird angle, but the kids are inside, so I just wanted to make the video in the kitchen today. I am going to show you how I do my language arts, which is the good and the beautiful. So we are situated in Ireland, and the shipping for the good and the beautiful hard copies just is quite expensive. It's not expensive, it's not overly expensive, it's just to ship anything from America, and especially bulky books is expensive. I do like the way that they give the option of the PDF version, and so that is what I have opted for my language arts. For the math, I did get the spiral bound and I had it shipped over, and I don't think it was worth it. I think I said even after one or two lessons, I found it frustrating to flip and to try and read from the workbook, then give the workbook to my son and then take it back again, especially probably because I'd already been used to this system, which I am about to show you. So I have one of these big, I don't even know what they're called, but everywhere has them because I know that my son uses them for primary school. My eldest. So they are just zippy thingies, and they just hold the bigger A4s. They're not exactly the A4 size. As you can see, they're slightly bigger than the A4 size, which means that even when he has the full 52 or 56 lessons in here, they can comfortably fit in, even though it's very thick. So we start off by printing it out and putting it in this. They do also have mini books and spelling sheets and stuff, which I keep separately. We haven't done sight words this year, and we've done spelling words slightly differently. And when I say we haven't done sight words, we haven't done it the way that they wanted us to do it. So I created something else differently. So I'm not going to show you that because I'm not actually using their way of doing it. So I'm just going to show you what I do for the good and the beautiful. They get you to print out readers, which I did on A4 because that was just easier than trying to resize and find something to fit the reader in. And also it ends up being a nice size for my son to read out of. So we are going slowly through reading, and this is the final reader. The middle reader. Section 2 reader, and we still have section 3 reader to come, and there's still room at the back for our section 3 reader. Our section 1 reader, I bought a small version of this, I think with only 20 pages, and unfortunately it was not big enough and I needed 2. Hey sweetheart. Oh, Mom. So overall we have these 2 items that we take from. We don't actually take anything out of this. We just use it, and then he'll read a story, and then the next day he'll read a story or reader, or however we choose to do it that time. So we take our lesson out of this, and I will usually, when I'm preparing in the morning for our homeschool, I will take one lesson out and we will go through it. As we're in summer school, we're doing it a little bit slower. And even last year, I was happy not to get a lesson done a day because some of the lessons are pretty long. Especially this lesson, I think lesson 31 has like 5 or 6 worksheets, and I don't think it's reasonable for my son right now to do 5 or 6 worksheets, getting himself stressed out and frustrated. So I take it out of here. We get what we can done. Some of this is done, some of it is not done. I wait until the whole lesson is done, and then I get them to put it on my homeschool desk, which you will see in the homeschool room tour. And then what I do is I file it. I have this little filing system, which we have not. This is that you can basically just put everything in, even the little bits that we cut out, we can just put in. And they're all easily accessible. And this system to me is really the most economical. It's the most user-friendly in my opinion. It makes sense as well because I have one folder for handwriting and for handwriting and English. It's not a book that's half done and half not done. This is my done stuff. And this is my not done stuff. So it's not like we're on the same book or he feels frustrated because maybe we've been going through something slower than usual. And he's getting frustrated because, oh, why am I still on the same book as I was before? No, we're doing it slowly and methodically and we're getting through it. And so it's just one lesson at a time. Similarly, next year is going to be one lesson at a time. So it kind of just, the pattern is there and it's to just keep going as much as you can when you can. So the pattern is still there and just to keep going little by little and we will get this done. And like I said in a previous video, we're not super concerned in terms of levels, scales, whatever. He's getting through it. And the pros of this system is that it is easier to see visually where you're at, how far you've come, how much you have done. Like we can look back at this and say, wow, I can see from start to finish, that's amazing. I can see it's getting fuller. Your folder is getting fuller. It's going good. And this is getting thinner, which is great. And this is quite a great one. Just the fact that it's A4. I think you would find it a little bit more distracting or frustrating when they're small. He did enjoy the mini books. The mini books, again, I just printed out and stapled them together. Which I also have in one of these, but just smaller. And I have two read mini books, which ones we haven't read and ones we have read. So that's how I sectioned those ones out as well. But this system works well for us because in the morning when he has his box, which I'll show you in our homeschool room tour, he just has a couple of pages, which is a lesson. He has language arts, he has maths, and we have our reading. And that's all we do for summer school right now. And if you saw my Instagram, you can see what our reading is. So it's not just, reading. Like we do have quite a number of books that we're going through. But it's a little bit less hectic because it is summer school. I think the cons of this would probably be for someone who can afford shipping, or not afford shipping. We can afford shipping. No, I'm just messing. We can't afford shipping. For someone who prefers the look of spiral bound and shipping is not an issue, then I can understand why having a nice book is helpful. My children are not the most gentle with books, and so it does frustrate me when the cover comes off and when the back comes off. That's not going to happen with this. I did end up pulling a few pages out of the mats because that frustrated me, that I had to talk and show him something at the same time, and it was flipping pages in order to show him the next page, and that was frustrating. But again, maybe it's because I started on this system and so I was used to having them sheet. I said sheet. So a pro for me for this system is that it's actually cheaper for me to buy the PDF and to print it than it would be to even buy the fully printed version. That is because of, if you look at my 3 homeschool hacks, because of the printer that I have. The printer that I have is very, very, very economical. We are into our 2nd homeschool year with that, printing out sheets, and we have not run out of ink. My husband went back to college and he is doing something that he is using the printer a lot more on a daily basis, and we have not run out of ink. So it is aimed at a small office. When we were picking it up, that's kind of what they were saying, about 300 sheets a day. And it seems to be working really, really well. So economically, it is cheaper to print this PDF. And it doesn't wreck my head. It takes a good few hours to print it and sort it and organize it, but that's done in 1 or 2 days. And so once you have that done, it flows well. I'd say probably the only other con would be if you dropped these sheets of paper. That would probably wreck your head because then they'd be mixed up. And there's quite a few hundred sheets of paper in each level. I found I went through quite a few reams. I went through at least 1 or sometimes 1.5 reams per level, and ream is about 500 pages, simply because you've got the lessons, you've got the course book, you've got the mini books, and you've got these readers, plus the sight words and the spellings. So there are quite a number of pages in each level. I also printed out science and handwriting for each of the kids. So we went through a lot of paper. But even at that, at the moment, it's like $3.50 is the cheapest that you can get for paper, $3.99. It's not that bad. Yes, boo-boo. So overall, this is the system that works. This is the system that we have been using. And I think it's definitely the system we're going to use next year as well, because I will have a junior infant and I will have a first classer, and this, putting it into their box, which again you'll see in the homeschool room tour, putting it into their boxes and giving them the onus is on them to go and get their box, pick up their box for the day. Oh, what's in your box? Oh, surprise, there's a lesson. But it doesn't overwhelm them because it's a couple of sheets of paper. Even this is quite a long lesson, but I think it's maybe 8 or 10 sheets of paper. So it's doable. I don't want to overwhelm them. I want to keep them enjoying learning and not to get overly frustrated at school. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this is, even for those people who can't afford shipping, or who aren't, not even can't afford shipping, don't mean can't afford shipping, but would rather you spend that money on something more worthwhile than shipping. You can print out reasonably. You don't have to spiral bind just because everyone else is. There are other ways to do it. Just figure out what works for you, what works for your family, and this is another option.